Hello and welcome to another OptiFlex Pro video. Today we're going to be talking about startup setting adjustments, some minor adjustments that maybe are needed to help you to have good success as you get started using the OptiFlex Pro. Now we've already assembled the unit, we've brought power and air into the unit. We haven't put our powder on the unit just yet. We're not quite ready for the powder yet, but let's take a moment to make a few adjustments in the control unit, make sure we're ready for success. So just a quick overview of some of the features that are on the control unit. First is our on and off button, where we can power the unit off as well as power the unit on. We have our factory preset settings, which are easy to coat or flat parts mode. We have our complex geometry or complex parts mode, and we have our recoat mode, which is used for difficult parts. Up at the top right, we have our powder delivery percentage. Below that, we have the total air. Below that, we have the kV. And below that, we have the microamps. So we have a pneumatic and electrostatic settings in the top half of the control unit. And below that is our custom program mode. Over on the opposite side, we have our motor control button, which turns on the vibrator and turns off. We also have a toggle switch, which is used to toggle between the various screens. We'll cover that in just a moment. We have our Bluetooth button, which is pushed to be enabled the Bluetooth capabilities of the control unit to connect with your smart device. Down here in the lower part of the control unit, we have the cleaning or purge feature. The cleaning feature, when activated, the gun would then go through its cleaning or purging feature. As we activate the toggle screen button, we switch to a secondary screen, which shows us the rinsing air, as well as the fluidization air, and the screen brightness. You'll notice that the screen went back to our standard setting, as each of these screens are only on for a few seconds, allowing you to view and make adjustments. And if it does go away, you can bring it right back by hitting the toggle screen button. We'll come back to some of the settings on these rinse air and fluidization air in a moment. Back on our main screen, we can see that we have all of our standard settings, and so in this particular case we have selected flat parts mode, which shows our electrostatics already preset at 100 microamps and 100 kV. And so really we're left with just setting our pneumatic settings. So each of the Gema units comes standard with the unit programmed with 60% for powder delivery and 4.0 for the total air. We recommend that you probably, for most people, would need to make an adjustment of bringing that down into the range of 3.0 on your total air and setting your powder delivery percentage for maybe 50%. That would be an ideal starting spot for most people. If you find that that's not enough air or too much powder, you can research some of our other videos on understanding how to properly adjust total air and powder delivery percentage. As I mentioned, we're in the flat parts or easy to coat mode. Our powder delivery percentage is 50%. Our total air is 3.0. If we were to choose another program, such as our complicated parts, you'll see that the pneumatic settings for that program are different. So each time we're adjusting our program, our factory preset, we will need to make sure that our pneumatic settings are where we need them to be. So in this particular case, if 3.0 and 50% was our desired settings, we would adjust the powder delivery air and total air to 3.0, our powder delivery at 50%. And you'll see that now both modes are in the same pneumatic settings. Likewise, if we went to recoat, we would also have to make an adjustment. Our last setting is the programming mode. For some individuals, there may be a desire to have some customization capability, and so going into the program mode allows you to store a given recipe for each one of the programs that you're wanting to store and recall. If that's the case, you're going to adjust your electrostatic settings where you need them to be, whether that's voltage or current. We'll set this one at 122 microamps, and then also adjust your pneumatic. Likewise, each one of the programs comes standard with the same programming settings that you saw earlier. In this case, each of these have an electrostatic setting of 80,000 volts and 20 microamps. Just be sure to make sure that you have set the electrostatic settings what you would need for your custom program mode. As you can see, we have up to 20 programs that we can scroll through and store a recipe on, and we cycle back to the first program. One other comment would be on the toggle screen. We mentioned that rinse air and fluidization air are important settings, so you would want to have just enough rinse air to be able to have air coming out to wash the electrode. We don't want to have it aggressively high or too low. And so inside your operational manual, there are some adjustments for whether you're using a deflector or a flat spray nozzle that would recommend some different settings for what the proper rinse air would be. Since most people are utilizing the flat spray nozzle, starting out at 0.1 is a reasonable starting point. Likewise, on the fluidization air, we have a setting of 0.1. That's the amount of air that's going down into the suction tube to fluidize right around the orifice of the pickup tube. And so each one of those adjustments would then give you a little bit more air. And in this case, you can adjust that setting to your desired likeness for fluidization. Starting at 0.1, 0.2 is a reasonable starting point. The last item is the brightness, and the brightness would be adjusted depending upon how bright you want the screen to be illuminated or how dark, depending upon what your preferences are. Also, again, much like we were describing with the pneumatic settings, each time that we are programming for a whether it's complicated or recoat or the flat parts, we would want to make an adjustment in the fluidization and rinse air and be sure that those are set for each one of our programs. So in each case, you can store information, but each program is specific in terms of how much pneumatic pressures you're using for total air, powder delivery percentage, rinse air, and your fluidization air. The last item we'll cover is the remote control capabilities of the OptiFlex Pro gun. Standard on the unit is the ability for the remote control to adjust the powder delivery percentage. So as we decrease the powder delivery percentage down, you can see from the remote control the screen is also adjusting and either decreasing or now we are increasing and getting more powder. If you prefer to have the remote control adjust your programming instead of the powder delivery, there is information inside the technical manual that would allow you to be able to adjust the control unit parameters so that you can control program from the remote control instead of the powder delivery percentage. The last item to cover is the P button, which can be used for purging or cleaning. By pushing that, the unit is entered into its cleaning mode. You'll see that by the digital display indicating a dashed line rotating around. It can also be adjusted in the system parameters to be able to select power boost mode. So instead of going into cleaning mode, you would use this to go into power boost mode. Power boost is our 110 kV capability. And to be able to do that on our standard control unit, we would go into a programming mode, put our current at 100, and set our voltage to 110. And we have entered into the power boost mode of 110 kV and 110 microamp capability. And that's power boost. You'll notice that as it's in the red. For more information on some of these settings and how to utilize the OptiFlex Pro gun, we recommend that you check out some of our other videos on the control unit and gun performance and be able to get more comfortable on how to utilize the OptiFlex Pro. So we've showed you some basic startup settings to help you to have success with the OptiFlex Pro. You're almost ready to begin. We just need to put some powder in the unit, whether it's a vibrating box unit, where we'll put powder on the vibrating table and put the suction tube in and be ready to go, or using one of the other Gema units, which has a fluidized hopper or some other material handling system. Put the powder in that and you're really ready to begin operation. We've got power, we've got air, we're going to have powder here in a minute, and we'll be ready to go. We hope you have success now that you understand how to utilize the OptiFlex Pro, and we'll see you at the next OptiFlex Pro video.